Spoiler warning. The following discussion will contain spoilers. We recommend checking out the movie first, then coming back to hang with us. But if you don't care about that, glad to have you here.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Real Top 5, a special episode where we take a look at Adam's favorite Christmas episodes. Welcome back, Adam. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you as well, Kevin.
I am so excited. Now, we do this like once a year. I mean, we've only done it once so far, so this is the second time, so I shouldn't really act like it's a tradition, but to me, it's a tradition. I don't actually do these episodes. I like to take the other people on the channel, and I always like to hear what are their favorite Christmas episodes. Of course, we're going to review Christmas movies. We're going to watch those throughout the season. Right. I personally always have a hard time going back through old TV shows and finding like those Christmas episodes that are really special to me. I always like to hear those hidden gems, the ones I don't know about. So, right. Adam, it's your turn this year. I hope you're excited.
I am so jazzed. I really enjoyed going through all of these trip down memory lane, if you will.
Yeah, man, and I'm ready for the ride to go with you. So I think we should just get started. We're going to rank them 5 through 1. Adam, what's your number 5?
Number 5 is the Home Improvement episode, 'Twas the Flight Before Christmas.
Is there any place I can look for a book here?
We have some books in our gift shop.
And the gift shop would be? Okay, can I see some of your books?
Sorry, we're closed for the holidays.
Basically, in this episode, there's a few story arcs that are happening, but the main one is Tim the Toolman Taylor and his partner Al are stuck at the airport trying to get home in time for Christmas. The main reason why this episode is on my list is because it was one of those situations where when I was younger and, I was always watching Nickelodeon, then all of a sudden Nick at Night would start, especially around Christmas time. This was the episode that was on. I would just always watch it. It was just always the one that I would go to.
That's funny.
And arguably, it is the best Christmas episode of this show because they always had holiday episodes, but it is arguably the best one.
I feel like we all have a show, like not even just like a Christmas episode, but there's always an episode of a show when we were younger, especially. I feel like that was always on. Like for me, for Avatar: The Last Airbender, Appa being lost. I don't know why that's always on. No matter when I put it on, Appa's missing. And
what a terrible episode to always catch.
It's the saddest episode. At least yours is happy. I think Home Improvement's a fun selection. It's a shame that maybe some of the newer generation won't be as familiar with Home Improvement, but when we were younger, especially in the 90s like that, we forget how good of an actor Tim Allen really is, especially on a sitcom level. I know he still acts on sitcoms today. I always feel like he brings like this, it's like those corny dad jokes, but you still laugh. And this episode I felt like was still relevant today.
The whole show is just completely underrated, I feel. It's just so entertaining, but this episode definitely hits differently because it is a Christmas episode and it relates so well to actual real issues.
Right, I think that's the relatability they always went for with the show, and I think that's why it does stand the test of time. Even when I was watching this episode, some of it's outdated, especially like with the mechanics of the world and how we've evolved, but the core essence of the show, that family aspect, it's incredibly relatable still today.
Yeah, absolutely. People can get stuck at airports for the
It's a cliche thing, right? I mean, we see it all the time with movies and stuff where we're stuck at the airport at the last minute trying to get home and everything like that. Again, they did it the right way. I really think like that family togetherness that Home Improvement was always popular for, that great ensemble casting that really works.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was completely like the jokes that happened during the whole show, this episode specifically.
Right, and did you have like a favorite part of the episode?
My favorite part was when they would be talking to the one employee at the airport and he was just constantly changing.
Yeah, just kept moving it every time they were up there.
Yes, yeah, whatever. If they were looking for the gift shop, he's like, "Oh no, this is the gift shop too."
Right,
like,
he just kept changing
closed
it
for the holidays. Yes, I love that.
No, that was a good gag. They have a lot of gags like that running in the episode, and then Tim and Al's performance, of course. I always loved their characters. It's funny, when I was younger, maybe I liked the kids a little bit more. I kind of related to them, but now becoming more of an adult now, I find myself relating more to Tim, Al, and his wife. And again, I think that's another timeless aspect of it, especially for a holiday special. It's a perfect time capsule of the 90s. If anyone was looking for something to find like what embodied a good 90s show, Home Improvement's where it's at.
Number 4, the SpongeBob Christmas special of Christmas Who.
I can't believe anybody would celebrate a holiday where a jolly prowler breaks into your house and leaves gifts.
Like a genie.
Anytime I think of Christmas episodes, it is that one. Mostly because of the song
I was
that
just gonna
happens
tell
in
you,
the episode.
as soon as you said the SpongeBob Christmas episode, the stupid song pops into my head. I find myself singing that song when it's not Christmas. I have to admit, it's so damn catchy.
The one part that stands out the most is Mr. Krabs when he chimes in with this like high-pitched tone that he brings to the song. Not, I mean, the
Christmas to
episode's a fun.
me.
That's it. That's it.
Oh, I
It's
can't.
a fun episode too, but yeah.
And just like the
that is
Squidward interactions always make me laugh. This is prime SpongeBob. For those who don't know,
Absolutely.
this was season 2 of SpongeBob. Especially for us, I think this was the highlight of those SpongeBob years when he was at his prime. The annoyance that Squidward feels is just so hilarious on the next level for me. Especially, like I said, that song, What Do You Want? Can't you see that I'm busy? Like, I don't know why it is. Just the back and forth. I love that style of humor. And then he's
So
under the
good.
mistletoe and he starts like running away. It works every time.
Yes.
The weirdest part of that song, he's like la 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 la. And he's like going like that, and he like breaks into Squidward's house. He's just doing that at his door. That always sticks with me. This was also the first appearance of Patchy the Pirate, which I didn't know about because he's become synonymous with SpongeBob. The comedy with him was actually a lot funnier than I remember too. Maybe because I was younger and I wasn't fully aware of some of the jokes.
Yes.
Like he pokes his eye
same.
out and then he moves his eye patch around. He yanks the bird and then the guy falls from the ceiling operating the marionette bird.
Yep.
You know, things like that. I think it's silly. It's classic
So good.
SpongeBob. That's what I think Christmas specials should do is you take the zaniness of your world and incorporate it with the holiday so it feels unique and not just that typical story that we're telling over and over. Yes, keep the themes and things that we look for, but add a little bit of that extra spice, and certainly SpongeBob does that.
Definitely. Number 3, Chowder. Hey, hey, it's Knishmas.
Do you know what you're asking Kanish Crinkle for? I know what I'm asking for. I'm not your boyfriend! Come on, line move!
Comedy in Chowder, it hits me so well, and this episode is no different than the rest of the show. It's just so entertaining, over the top, and the energy that Chowder brings to the show. It being Knishmas, being food related, and everything that happens, it's just so entertaining.
Oh boy, is this where I get roasted in the comments and the people come after me with the pitchforks? Adam,
Go
I hate
for
to
it.
say, I don't know really anything about Chowder. I've never actually seen an episode of Chowder before. I watched this episode. I had a really good time with this. This actually makes me want to go back and watch Chowder now. For someone who had no idea what I was watching, I wasn't lost. I think the show does a fine enough job to where I understood what was going on, and it was fun. I especially like the opening of this episode, which is something we see in a lot of Christmas specials, I think now, is where they mimic the old school claymation opening. I thought that was a really fun idea.
Chowder's a kid, and it really captures just being a kid at Christmas time, being selfless towards the end of the episode with Chowder looking out for other people instead of actually what he wants. In the end of the episode, and everything else ends up working out in the end.
This world that it introduced me into, I felt myself kind of falling in love with. I really like the animation design with this episode. I know it works for the show probably in general, but I think it even worked extra for the holiday, just having like that whole setup with the way the color palette stands still, but the characters still move. Just the idea of making a gingerbread house, which I like that idea. At first, I didn't know how I felt about it. Then I kind of thought back to what I was saying even before. It's where I like when the world incorporates their own version of Christmas. And I think Chowder did a good job incorporating the holiday into their own crazy messed up world to where they have a giant slug who like burned down your house. He's not happy with your gifts. I think that's hilarious. Chowder's a fun character. I actually really liked him. I thought his zany humor was so like a sugar rush. I felt like the episode had me like on a sugar high the whole time watching everything that was happening. Again, I'm not familiar with Chowder, but I think I'm going to change that after watching this because I really enjoyed it.
I mean, at the end of the day, it really is an episode that just works so well. Number 2, the Christmas party episode from The Office.
Presents are the best way to show someone how much you care. It is like this tangible thing that you can point to and say, hey man, I love you, this many dollars worth.
I think this one's just so enjoyable because it really shows the different personalities of Christmas just in general. because they're in the episode, they do the white elephant.
Oh
or,
boy. Yeah, they do.
Secret Santa.
The start with the Secret Santa.
Yes. And of course, things change because Michael, he wants to do a Yankee swap for white elephant.
Well, I think that's funny that you even bring that up because they don't know the name of what they're doing. They're like, oh, I heard it's called this. Well, I heard it's called that. I just thought that was funny because I feel like when I talk to people about doing gift exchanges like that, everyone has a different name for it.
Yes, definitely. You just to see every classic trope, like Creed, who never did his actual shopping, then remembered last minute and is like, all right, let me just grab this. And he grabs the shirt from his closet for Jim and just puts it in a plastic bag.
Oscar had the shamrock keychain, and he's like, I think he's Irish? I don't really know.
Yes. Yeah. And then you have Phyllis, who knitted an oven mitt for Michael, you know, the thoughtful type of gift. And of course, there's Michael, who did not like that gift at all.
You hit a lot on this episode because this encapsulates the perfect Office episode. Season 2 is where they found their footing as far as the characters and the humor. And it's obvious, too, with all the interactions. Like, Michael's personality is like what he's notoriously known for, going over the top just to be flashy. And then he doesn't get what he wants, and it comes back to bite him, and he pouts and goes crazy in the episode. I absolutely love it.
Well, of course, there's the interaction between Jim and Pam, where Jim makes this super complex gift where it's not just the teapot that he gives her. There's just so many more of an emotional connection.
Right, and while everyone else is superficial, his is so deep and important too. Actually, for the whole crux of the story in general.
Yeah, it brings so much more emotion to a gift, and that's like, you know, where everybody tries to go with Christmas. It's a gift a lot of times.
These characters are timeless in their own right, and I think that creates a lot of it. And then you add the magic of Christmas to it, you know, or Michael's version of Christmas. Over the top, I just want to have fun, and I want everyone to love me. By the end of the episode, we see him being invited out to go out. You know, they all like, oh, we're going to go to the bar, and they're like, oh, Michael, you want to come with us? And he's like, oh, yeah. Yeah, and he's all happy, and you know, it's special. This is a perfect Office Christmas party. I think there's a lot of relatable things in this to people who work in an office. If you're in that setting, I think there's a familiarity to it.
It's because, you know, like you know, some of the other Christmas specials, it's real. It makes it feel so much, which gives you so much more of an emotional connection to the episode.
You have to love the ending, of course, with Michael goes back into his office and Meredith's in there waiting for him, takes her top off, and he's like, nope, and he just walks out. That's a memorable moment. I think that's like an Office memory for sure. But good stuff, Adam. I really like that. That was an awesome number 2.
I do like that one a lot. It's so enjoyable to watch.
And a lot of them are good too. For people who like the other Office Christmas episodes, they have a whole slew of them. But I think I'm with you. I think this one would be my favorite if I had to pick one that I'm going to watch again and again. This is probably the easiest one to jump into.
Coming to my number 1 spot is Hey Arnold, Arnold's Christmas.
So, it's almost Christmas time.
Yes, this time of year always make me remember.
Remember what?
It was a long time ago, Arnold. A very complicated story.
I'd like to hear it. Please tell me.
This is the ultimate Christmas special that you will ever find. It like transcends. It really tugs on the heartstrings in all the right ways. It's so different from everything else. It was definitely ahead of its time because of how much emotion it just brought between, you know, sadness and happiness, joy, and everything. Everything was in this one half hour, if that, episode.
You don't have a soul if you don't like this episode of Hey Arnold. People always ask, why is Hey Arnold such an important show? I like to point to like this episode. There's a couple other ones too, but this one, more importantly, I think really shows Hey Arnold got it. Wasn't afraid to write these more adult stories that were relatable, but weren't so adult to where it's like, okay, a kid shouldn't be watching this. They were realistic. When you watch this, it embodies that Christmas spirit, doing good for another person. This can move you to tears. If you're in the right setting, you know, you're in the right mood, you're feeling nostalgic, it's going to move you. This episode really is that powerful.
Out of all of the Christmas episodes I've like ever seen, this is the one that I always will come back to because of just so well written. And as I said, it's ahead of its time because even as a kid, I understood the challenges that everybody was going through in this episode.
Me going back now is fun to like try to examine this maybe on a more critical level. I like how Mr. Wynn, they don't go into where he's from exactly. Like we know where he's from, what country he's coming from, what they're kind of alluding at. But you know, a kid doesn't need to know that. It's just telling you the story of Mr. Wynn. He lost his daughter and like how terrible that is. He came into this country and he was alone trying to find his daughter, and seeing his backstory. It's a really unfortunately relatable thing for a lot of immigrants immigrants that come into this country when they get separated. And Arnold, you know, being the child that he is, he wants to connect Mr. Wynn with his daughter, and he's trying to do all these things. He's running all these errands, trying to get to her. And that heartwarming moment at the end of this episode, just, it really solidifies why Hey Arnold's that special.
I'm going to go rewatch it again.
I know you have to after we talk about it. And it's funny because everything kind of works in this episode. There's a little bit of commentary on the holiday. It doesn't get overly preachy or anything like that. You know, it has the whole, like, it's not about like the physical gifts. It's about just finding a special gift for someone. It doesn't have to be the actual present. Helga is trying to get Arnold the perfect gift throughout the episode, and she tries to get him this super violent video game. Arnold and Gerald are just like dismissing it. Like, that's not that interesting. And she ends up helping the caseworker find Mr. Wynn's daughter on Christmas Eve.
She helps the caseworker by also sacrificing the gift that she wanted all along.
That sacrifice is really special. Helga's an interesting character throughout all of Hey Arnold. I think most people will agree where she loves Arnold, but she hates him. She can't show it at the same time. And by her doing something so selfless, I think that's good for people to see too, especially younger viewers. There is more to the holiday than that commercialism. It's still okay to give gifts, and people give gifts, and that's fine. But once in a while, sometimes people need something more, and it's okay to do that extra step. And it feels really special, man.
It's in a league of its own, really.
It is. If you love Christmas, you love animation, Arnold's Christmas might do it the best. I would make that strong argument, even with other animated movies. I mean, we watched Frosty, Rudolph, Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Those are all great, and I love those. Don't get me wrong. I think they're fantastic. If you're looking for something that really captures the spirit of the holiday and is timeless, it's weird because it's in a time capsule of that 90s period, but it's also not. Because of that messaging, it just makes it that much more powerful. What are you doing? Go watch Hey Arnold's Christmas. I don't understand what's wrong.
Yeah, definitely. Stop watching us and go watch that.
Go watch that. Adam, you had a fantastic list this year. You did a really good job, man.
Like I said, it was very enjoyable to go back and watch all of these.
Again, guys, thank you all so much for joining us for this episode of the Real Top 5 Christmas Special. If you like what you see, you want to see us do more of these kind of top 5 episodes when maybe it's not Christmas, let us know in the comments below. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. We'll catch you next time.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
If you guys like what you've seen here today, consider giving this video a like and leaving your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to stay up to date with everything Real Movie Guys related, make sure to hit that subscribe button and check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And don't forget, all you audio listeners at home, we are available on many podcasting platforms. Just search The Real Movie Guys, we should pop right up. Thank you again all so much for joining us on this episode of The Real Review. We are The Real Movie Guys. Real guys, real movies, real thoughts. Catch you next time.